Hey everyone, how are you? And if you are new to my channel, then welcome. Today's video is going to be all about my favorite makeup brushes. This is going to be tagged onto my Best in Beauty 2016 series. This is the last video, but technically these are still my favorite makeup brushes and it's 2017 now, so I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to word the title. I'm going to be talking about all of my favorite brushes that I like to use to apply my makeup. I also want to mention that all of the brushes that I'm talking about today are synthetic brushes. I don't really use natural hair brushes. I just haven't gotten the opportunity to try natural hair brushes. So all of the ones that I'm talking about right now are synthetic brushes, just so you know. If you want to see the rest of my Best in Beauty series, I will have the playlist listed down below so you can see what else I loved for last year. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. I have 4 different brands of brushes that I'm going to mention today, and 3 of them are like my ride or die. I always use these brushes, this brand of brushes, and one of them is my ultimate favorite, or has become my ultimate favorite. So I'm gonna get right into it. I split up the brushes that I have right in front of me. That's why I'm looking down. I split it up into like foundation brushes, powder brushes, blush, contour, highlight, and eye brushes, stuff like that, so we can move through this a little bit quicker. So first off, I have 2 foundation brushes that have been my absolute favorite all year. The first half of the year, I was obsessed with this one. This is Morphe, and this is the Morphe M439 buffing brush. I got this because of Jaclyn actually, and she used to rave about this, and I was like, okay, I gotta have it. Why not? So I picked it up and I was obsessed with it ever since. It does a really good job of blending in your foundation without leaving streaks or anything like that. I really love the fact that that's what it does. And I do have a trick which a few people have asked me about. I usually will take my MAC Fix Plus or any kind of makeup setting spray, and I just spray my brush to lightly dampen it, and it helps blend out your makeup so much easier. I just got this for Black Friday. I think Luxie was having a sale, and I got the Luxie 532 round top blender brush. This one is very similar to the Morphe, except the Morphe one is very dense. This one has a little bit more leeway, so it's softer. I feel like that helps not have as many streaks on the face, even though the Morphe one doesn't give me streaks. But if you want something a little bit more gentle on your face, I would go with this Luxie one. It's super soft. You can also use this with powder. I have not used the Morphe 439 one with powder. I don't know if it works with powder. I've only used it with liquid. This one I feel like is soft enough that you can use it with powder or liquid, and it gives a nice full coverage feel to your skin. Like, it's full coverage and a nice like natural feel, if that makes sense. So I just really love it. I can't say enough. Luxie brushes just kind of popped out of nowhere. I started getting them in my IPSY and BOXYCHARM, and then I actually bought some of my own, and I'm so glad I did. Now we're going to talk about powder brushes. I tend to rotate between powder brushes, to be honest. I just use whatever I can find. I have a lot of brushes behind me, but since I picked up a bunch of Luxie brushes, this one has become a favorite. This is the Luxie 520 tapered face brush. It is a just beautiful all around versatile powder brush, if that makes sense. I use this for regular powder to set my whole face. I use it for bronzer to really just bronze my entire face without it being like concentrated. I like to use this with blush as well, really blend out the blush. I also use this to sheer out all of that. So like if I feel like I put way too much bronzer, way too much contour, or way too much blush, and this is clean, I'll take it and just kind of blend it all together so it looks beautiful. I also really like these 2 brushes for under the eyes, like setting under the eyes. If I'm not using a beauty blender to apply powder under there, then I'll use one of these 2. I will use this one to apply and this one to wipe away. So this right here is the Urban Studio. This is supposed to be like a blush brush. It's like super tiny, which I guess you could use as a blush brush. I got this in a set of 4 different brushes that I got from like Marshall's, I think. But this brush has been my go-to brush for applying powder under the eyes and kind of just setting my concealer. Like I said, if I'm not using a little beauty blender, then I will use this to apply it right underneath, and it really does a good job of applying the powder. And then once it's applied and set, I love using this brush from Luxie to blend it all the way because it doesn't disturb the makeup underneath. It doesn't disturb the concealer or the foundation. It really just takes away the powder. This is the Luxie 640 Pro Precision Tapered Brush. This really took me by surprise. I thought it was very intriguing on the website, which is why I bought it. I use this to sweep the powder away, like I said, but I also like going in with this if I have a full face on and then I do my eyes afterward. I will go in with this to kind of just brush away any fallout from the eyeshadow. It works amazingly. So now I'm going to talk about blush and contour. I have these two brushes right here. This is another Urban Studio brush. This is supposed to be a powder brush, which you could use this for powder if you want to add powder throughout your whole face. I like to use this for blush. I like to just pop it on the apples of my cheeks and then blend it backward. It's still a little bit wet because I just washed all of these, but it's so soft. It blends out beautifully. I, again, don't even know what kind of set I got. It was like some kind of face set that I got from Marshall's that had this in it, and it was very inexpensive as well. Urban Studio is affordable, as well as Morphe. Luxie is around the price of Morphe as well. I feel like it's in between Morphe and Sigma. And then what I love to contour my cheeks with is this right here. I got this in like a BOXYCHARM a while back, or IPSY, and this is the Luxie 512 Small Contouring Brush. This is what I use to contour my cheeks and kind of just add, like, I guess, contour throughout my entire face. I'll like add it down here, under my lip, all that. It just fits perfectly right in the hollows of your cheek. I keep saying I love everything, but it's such a beautiful brush. I'm obsessed. Moving right along to highlight. So I have 3 highlighting brushes to talk about from 3 different brands. So first we'll talk about Morphe, because Morphe is one of my favorite affordable brush brands. I have the Elite brushes, the first round, and the gunmetal brushes, and I love them. This is one of my favorite gunmetal brushes by far. I just love it. This is the Morphe G23 fan brush. This is what I used to use almost all the time to apply my highlight. It just fits perfectly right on the cheekbone and right down the center of the nose. I really love it. It's not skinny enough that it'll cause like a nice stripe on your cheek, but it's not thick enough that it'll just be adding highlight everywhere. It's like the perfect in-between. Then I have these 2 brushes that look very similar, except this top one is fluffier than the bottom. This is my Ride or Die makeup brush. This is the Sigma Tapered Highlighter Brush, the F35. I feel like a lot of people on YouTube rave about this brush because it's that great. I feel like it really does help pick up a lot of highlight. Like if you want a lot of highlight on your brush, this is the brush to go with. And it also fits perfectly right on your cheekbone, down the center of the nose, your chin, wherever you want it. It fits perfectly, blends out beautifully. Love it. And then the other one I recently started using is this Luxie 522 Tapered Highlighter. This one is a little bit fluffier and rounder than the Sigma one, but it does the exact same thing. It's just beautiful for blending it out. I feel like this is a really great brush for like a sheared application. It does pick up a lot of product, but it shears it out as well, if that makes sense. Like it works for me for every day, and you could also do it down the nose and chin as well. So we are done with the face, and now we're going to talk about some eye brushes. It took me a while to pick out my ultimate favorite brushes, but I did narrow it down. So I'm going to start off with my Morphe brushes. My Morphe Elite brushes are some of my favorite brushes that I own. So the 3 that I have to talk about are the E36, which is what I use for my inner corner highlight, and also a little bit under my brow bone as well. But inner corner highlight is really what I use this for, and it picks up a lot of product and it blends it out beautifully. It's just so small and detailed, perfect for under the waterline and the inner corner. Then I love the E22, which is like a domed, I guess this is a domed like crease brush. It fits right in the crease and it blends it out. It applies a lot of product. If you want to really pack on your crease color, this is what you want. And it's super soft. It doesn't hurt my eyes or anything. And then the last Morphe Elite brush is the E27. This is what I use for my transition, for applying powder all over my eye, everywhere. It's super soft and it's fluffy, and it works beautifully for applying eyeshadow to your entire lid, or like if you're just blending out transition, it blends it out beautifully. Or sometimes I'll just use this absolutely clean and go in to clean up like an eye look and make it blend a little bit better. These Morphe Elite brushes I think are not on sale anymore, the first round, because they did bring back a second round where the tips, I want to say, are copper or like brown. They're a little bit different, but I feel like they have the exact same numbers. So if I can find them, I will have them down below. Next, I have two from Sigma. I have the small angled E35 brush. I have like a little sample version of it, and it's just a small angled brush. I just really love the way that this applies gel liner. I have a bunch of these angled liner brushes, and some of them just don't apply my gel liner the way that I want it to. It doesn't apply like skinny enough, if that makes sense. Like it doesn't get skinny when I apply product, so it ends up looking really, really thick and gross. This one, however, works beautifully, so I love it. And then the other one is the Sigma Shader Lid Brush. This is the E56, part of their performance brushes. It's a super, super flat brush. You can use this for so many things. You can use this for concealer, concealing your lid, kind of carving out your brow if you want. And I like using this with wet eyeshadows. Like I'll spray it with MAC Fix Plus and then apply it to eyeshadow and apply it to my lid. It really helps just pack on the color. If you're looking for a super thin lid brush, this is what you want. Like I said, it's so thin and you can really focus it right on the lid and get the eyeshadow where you want it to go. So my last three are from Luxie. It was really hard because I love all of the Luxie brushes that I own, but these three really stood out for me, and they have made appearances in my favorites before. So this one right here is my all-time favorite eye brush from Luxie. This is the Luxie 237 blending brush. It is a super thin and skinny blending brush that fits perfectly like right above your transition or right below the brow bone, like right where the brow bone is. That's where I apply my brow bone highlight, and this is what I use for it. It's such an amazing brush, and it really shears it out and blends it out as well. Then I have this one, which is the 231 small tapered blending brush. This one is pointed, and I really love this for the outer corner and also for the transition, like right above. It just works beautifully for that as well. And if you're really just trying to focus a shade or a color on the outer corner, this will work for you. You can also use this underneath if you want to like blend out your lower lash line color, because it is skinny enough, if that makes sense. It's not like super fat like this Morphe E27. It's nice and skinny, but still soft and fluffy. Then the last brush that I have to talk about is the Luxie 221 Flat Definer. This is what I've been using to carve out my brows, and I'm obsessed. I just love it. I think it works really well. You can also apply color underneath your waterline as well if you want, but for carving the brows, this has become my favorite. It blends out your concealer really nicely, and it also applies it really nicely. So those were all of my favorite makeup brushes, my all-time ride or die makeup brushes that I've been loving all year and now, and in this current year. I just really, really love everything that I spoke about. I will have all the brushes that I named listed down below, as well as links if I can find them. That way you guys can check them out if you want to try any of the brushes that I mentioned. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to ask. I feel like I really breezed through all of this, but for the most part, these are my favorite brushes. I haven't had any issues with the brushes. They're all synthetic. They all don't fray or shed on me. They all wash really, really well and dry really well, and they all apply the majority of my eyeshadows very, very well. So what do you think of this video? If you really like it, definitely give it a big old thumbs up, and let me know what brushes you love. Like, what are your favorite makeup brushes? Is there a brand that I have not tried or did not mention? Because I know there's more brands out there besides just Morphe and Luxie and Sigma. I know there's like Sedona Lace and Crown Brush and MAC and a whole bunch of other brush brands. So if there's a brush brand out there that you think that I need to try, let me know in a comment down below. I would love to know. Subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed already. Follow me on all my social medias. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.